Hi everyone, it's Jen. Happy 2021. I'm excited about the new year. It's been about a year now since I've been working on this project, and it's been a year now since I probably drawn my character Noctis. So she was one of the first sprites that I created for the game, and I finally get to revisit her and redraw some new sprites for the ending. So it's a great way to kind of come full circle. In the background of this video, you should be hearing Noctis' theme that was written by my dear friend Carrie. There's a few different variations to the theme depending on who Noctis is interacting with, and I found that to be just a delightfully creative idea on Carrie's part, and I was really happy to hear how their themes kind of converse with each other. It really reflects the idea of the characters conversing with each other, and well, Noctis is just a very, how do I describe her? Hopefully if you have played the game, or hopefully if you will try playing the game, you'll probably get a pretty good feel for who she is and why her theme is just perfect. I am using Procreate. I am not animating these sprites for the ending, so I have been going in and having a little bit more detail, a little bit more just fun drawing these sprites, since I don't have to worry about like where they're jointed or how I'm going to animate them. It's kind of given me a little bit more freedom just to kind of like, I guess, doodle freely, and that's been really fun. I've been plugging away at it pretty much every day and sticking to my schedule, so much to the point that I actually bumped my schedule up a little bit. So I hope to have my next update out sooner than later, but I know better than to make any promises, because you just never know what life is going to bring. I hope everybody is staying safe, and before I just continue to like ramble on endlessly, there is one thing that I wanted to share with everybody. That was kind of how this game has been a personal journey for me. Besides the fact that I was learning something new, I was learning how to program a game, and that was all very fun and exciting. It's really been kind of a personal journey for me, in the sense that I've been a long time since I've been doing a creative project or doing any drawings. When my son was born, the circumstances around his birth were just very difficult and stressful, and I kind of fell out of doing comics probably about a year after he was born, and I became very depressed. I've always kind of struggled with depression in my life, and I think a lot of my identity at that time had been torn kind of between being a new mother and being an artist, and then trying to find a way to be a provider, or steady provider. And I really felt like a failure on like all fronts. I felt like kind of just everything that I had been working towards and everything that I had hoped to accomplish was just so far out of reach. Whether it was going to be being the mom that I wanted to be, I was falling short. Being the artist that I want to be, I was falling short. And it felt like a pretty desperate time. Also, being an adoptee and giving birth, it really turned my worldview upside down. And I had a lot of adoption issues that suddenly just kind of came to the surface that I never really confronted, I never really thought about or allowed myself to think about. And So in some ways, when my son was born, it was like a whole nother part of myself was also born. And I felt very, very infantile in that regards, because I had always been like a very mature kid. But then suddenly I felt like I had regressed. And yeah, it was just, there's a lot of like difficult times that I was going through. And by the time that 2020 came around, I kind of finally came into myself. Like, I feel like I can deal with life, and I can deal with being myself, and I can, I still have my ups and downs, but I didn't feel like a failure anymore. I felt like proud of myself for the first time in a really long time. And that's the kind of mindset that I need to be in, I think, in order to start this type of a project. So I didn't start this project looking to be validated, because I had been able to find kind of like an inner validation that didn't require me to be good at anything or productive at anything, or to meet any like particular goals or judgments that other people were going to provide for me. It was really just something that I was finally able to like dig deep down inside myself and say, I'm not defined by like the art that I create, or the child that whatever my son decides to become and how he turns out. I will know that I love him and that I do my best. So just knowing that, I guess finding that sense of inner peace that is just not defined by any one, facet of like what I do and what I create and what my relationships are, which is just a sum of all those things, but not mined by any one thing. So just little things like that, I think, have helped me be able to work on a project and be able to still kind of like balance things in my life with playing with my son and working on my game and going to my job. I don't feel like anxious about any one thing that I'm doing, that my game isn't good enough, or that I'm not mothering good enough. Like, I don't have all those anxieties anymore, and I don't think that I could juggle things that I do and be as productive at everything that I'm trying to accomplish if I wasn't able to become comfortable with myself outside of doing those things. I think I would always feel like the need to like pressure myself and to hold myself to like certain standards. And I don't know if this is something that just sounds like complete common sense, and who knows why it took me like 40 years to like figure that out. But again, maybe it was because in some ways after my son was born, I felt like I kind of had to start from scratch. I was getting to know myself and getting to accept myself, and it was almost like I was a baby right along with him for that first couple years, and then I just kind of was able to finally grow up really fast, but it wasn't like a forced way of growing up like when I was an actual child. It felt like something that I had to force upon myself because of those circumstances and the uncertainty that I had during my childhood. So I hope that this story is not, I'm not sharing this to to try to elicit sympathy or pity from people. I just hope that by sharing my story, perhaps somebody might be able to relate to what I'm saying, or that maybe it might help somebody become a little bit more at peace with where they're currently at in their life and what they're trying to accomplish, or whatever their hopes and dreams may be, or with balancing like many different roles that they have for themselves. Be kind to yourself, forgive yourself, Don't let yourself get overwhelmed by shame or pressure that you impose upon yourself. It's never too late to start, as long as you're still alive. If there's something that you want to accomplish, or a goal that you always wished that you tried, it's never too late to start, whenever you're ready. Maybe it's not today, maybe it's not tomorrow, maybe it's like me, it's 5 years that it's going to take you. But don't worry, you'll get there someday. And if not, maybe your goals will change and shift by the time, and you'll find something else. Just be kind to yourself, and to remember to enjoy the process of just being alive, learning, and experiencing life. And that's I think I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great new year. Bye bye.